Things are getting very spicy over the last 24 hours as people question whether the Eagles will retain Nick Sirianni today. We'll piece together some of the clues, and you don't want to miss what some of the players had to say about it. What is up, everybody? RB here. Welcome into A to Z Philly. Appreciate everybody who has supported the show this year. The content will not stop as we head into the offseason, so hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as we break it all down. Let me tell you, man, the Birds are in a precarious situation. One wrong decision and everything could collapse. Give me your thoughts down below. After a day or two of taking time to wait and think about it, should the Eagles retain Nick Sirianni? Should he deserve to keep his job after one of the most historic collapses in NFL history? I'll give you my thoughts, and we will talk about all the latest. But before we jump into it, a shout out to our sponsor of today's video, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up with the code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. All right, I want to start off with the man, the myth, the legend, Jason Kelce. We talked yesterday about him and his potential retirement. And, of course, Adam Schefter jumped the gun. And Jason Kelce was on his podcast and said that he has not made a final decision. It does feel like he is indeed leaning towards retirement, but it is not official yet. So, as I said on the last video, until we hear from the mouth of Jason Kelce, I'm not going to believe it. It will be a sad day if he does retire. And it'll suck not having him because he is still one of the most talented players at his position in the game. But Jason Kelce stopped by his neighborhood McDonald's yesterday and gifted one of his favorite employees, Danielle Bonham, a signed jersey. Shout out to Jason Kelce. This just embodies how perfect of a player he is in person in this city. He is just absolutely incredible. What a guy. And man, I hope you come back for one more ride, Jason, with BG and the rest of the guys. But if not, perfectly understandable. And, you know, he may not want to come back to this fire burning here in the Philadelphia Eagles. Another guy that may not return is DeAndre Swift. He was asked if he will be back with the Philadelphia Eagles. He says, quote, "We will see if the opportunity presents itself. We'll see when we get there. Time will tell." I can tell you right now, he's not going to come back. He did say that he enjoyed everything about playing in Philadelphia, but he probably earned himself a decent contract. Nothing like top dollar, but he's probably going to get some decent money after going for 1,000 yards this year. And if I'm DeAndre Swift, why would I want to come back here unless they pay top dollar, which the Eagles never do for running backs? But why would he want to come back to a situation where he was a 1,000-yard rusher and they didn't even use him in a playoff game? I would not. I mean, obviously he's from the area, but he's probably still frustrated. So we'll see what happens with DeAndre Swift and the Eagles running back situation. Now, Brian Johnson once again gets another head coach job opportunity to interview for today. The Falcons interviewed Brian Johnson. Apparently, they've also interviewed Bill Belichick and will interview him again. Seems like steam is starting to heat up for Belichick to Atlanta. That would be absolutely insane. Talk about unraveling, of the Falcons and then going to get Belichick. I can't see it happening, but we'll see how it progresses. However, the fact that Brian Johnson continues to get these head coach opportunities, maybe I'm just not seeing the same thing. Maybe it's just, I'm the analyst and I need to keep my distance here. I don't get how this guy has gotten 3 head coach interviews. How? Did they watch the Philadelphia Eagles? Did they watch the collapse? Did they watch 3rd and 2, sending guys on go routes, no protection against the blitz? Maybe it's just me, but this is insane. Look, I hope somebody takes him away from Philadelphia. I really do. I think the Eagles need to go out there and get established coordinators, guys who have been around the game, none of these newbies. They need a guy that knows what he is doing and hopefully can salvage this situation and salvage guys like Jalen Hurts. So we'll see. But Nick Sirianni is the biggest question. And here is what Jordan Schultz said about Nick Sirianni. He said he talked to a longtime NFL exec to explain his take on Nick Sirianni and the Eagles. Quote, It all comes down to what Nick is able to lay out to Jeff Lurie. What's my path to getting back to a Super Bowl? Who are my coordinators? Who are my assistants? What went wrong? I think most people believe Doug would be kept before he met with their owners, so we'll see. So let's take it back a step, right? What happened back after 2020? Doug Peterson went to Florida and he met with Jeff Lurie, and people were saying, oh, he's a Super Bowl coach. Eagles collapsed. They choked. They didn't look interested. And it's time to maybe make a change. But since he won a Super Bowl, we're going to, give him that leash, right? Here's Nick Sirianni, who went to a Super Bowl not even a year ago. And a lot of people are calling for the firing, myself included. I mean, I'm not all the way in. I'm saying if he gets fired, I think it is deserved because of how bad the collapse and the choke was. But it all comes down to Jeff Lurie. We saw his blank face. We saw his frustration and how just kind of empty he felt during that playoff game. And if he does get fired, I'm not surprised, but I feel like it's going to go through the same type of process. And I would expect it to happen within the next couple days because right now, Nick Sirianni is set to meet, according to reports, with Jeff Lurie sometime this week in Florida. And it's probably going to be the same type of thing. It feels like deja vu, honestly. Nick's going to go have an offseason strategy and plan and talk about it. And I believe what happened with Doug is that when he went to meet with Lurie, he pushed back and said he wants more power. He wants to hire his guys, whereas Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman said, no, we want to do it our way. We want to do our thing, which I don't think is necessarily right, but that's probably what happened. And he said, okay, well, we're just going to go separate ways. And they fired Doug after that. So if Nick goes in there and says, I want these type of guys, I want my guys, I want to bring back Reich, for example, whatever, and they say no, this could end up in a parting between the two parties. But there was a report last night that Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni are already starting to look for coordinators for the Philadelphia Eagles. That came from Diana Rossini, and that kind of signals to me that they are going to try to keep Nick Sirianni, but again, has not been confirmed, so I don't just want to keep putting this stuff out there. It does seem, though, like Nick Sirianni will probably hang around this team for another year. And Jalen Hurts commented on the speculation about Nick Sirianni and about Brian Johnson, and he said, quote, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing, so I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. We plan on fixing everything that we've done and growing together, Coach Sirianni, Brian, and everyone. Obviously, that's just the mature thing to say. I don't think he necessarily believes that. And other players chimed in on the situation as well, including Fletcher Cox, who was absolutely pissed off. I mean, he was getting red here. I think it was Jeff McClain. It was one of the Eagle reporters that asked him about Nick Sirianni's future and if he should retain. Some of these players have said in the recent days, like, what are we talking about? He's our coach, blah, blah, blah. But Fletcher Cox said, that ain't even no bleeping discussion. You're a clown, bro. Get out of my face. So the Eagle players are coming to the defense of Nick Sirianni. They're saying this guy was one of the most winningest coaches in his first 3 seasons. He brought us to a Super Bowl. And just because we lost and things went flat, we're not even thinking about a new coach or anything like that. And Fletch may or may not be back. So the fact that he's going out on a limb here and defending the way he is, maybe he was just pissed off and he still is frustrated from that debacle of a game. But these guys are defending Nick Sirianni, and I think that is the right thing to do. We heard weeks ago when A.J. Brown defended Nick Sirianni. So these guys do have some hope and belief that it can be fixed, and it's not always just one person. But I think, again, deep down from the roots, I think the coordinator thing has to be fixed. I think you have to bring guys in that know exactly what to do, that have experimented with different systems before and have experimented with different teams and players, almost like, for example, a Mike Vrabel on defense who is going to come in and instill a great system right away. They absolutely need to figure out this coordinator thing. And Jalen Hurts talked about just this team in general as they were cleaning out lockers. And he says, quote, every year demands a new version of yourself. This year has taught me so much, all the blessings and lessons that came with it, all the things that light a fire in me. My number one desire is to learn from everything and be the best that I can be for everybody in this building. In addition to that, he says it just wasn't our time. That's something I can accept, knowing I control my own fate. Moving forward, how I work every day, how we work, and how we approach that. You have to have humility playing this game. You have to have a passion and respect for this game. And when he was asked about prepping for next season and when those preps will begin, he says they already have. So I don't know how much of this to believe, but at least he's being mature about it. At least they're kind of sort of taking accountability. I think new coordinators will be on the way, new positional coaches. I think that this roster is going to have a pretty good overhaul. I think you're going to see a lot more young talent, and hopefully the Eagles finally draft at the necessary positions that they need to start building from within more. That way you don't get into this position where, you know, you're stuck with all this dead weight with guys that you've signed to big contracts, and it's like, how do you get out of it now, right? So I think the next step, the first step of this offseason is the meeting between Jeff Lurie, probably Howie Roseman, and Nick Sirianni. And depending on where we go from there, we'll have more of an idea as to where the bridge leads. So this is going to get very interesting. I mean, it would be nuts, honestly, now that I think about it, to see a coach like Sirianni fired this quick. But again, when you have a collapse like they had, everything has to be into consideration. So we'll see. We'll keep you updated. Any breaking news happens, we'll be right here covering it live for you. So do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, help us push this content out, and I appreciate everybody. I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.